From the New York City area, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show, where the master badass himself, Sven Erlandson, takes you deep and gives balm for the soul, baby.
Hello, fine people. You have reached the Badass Counseling Show podcast. It is great to have you here joining us for a lightning round where we take all questions on all things. We have folks tuning in presently as we are taping right this very moment from Oregon, from New Zealand, from Newfoundland, from Ghana, from Guyana, from New Zealand. Did I say that already? We've got folks in from all over, and it's great to have you all here. I am joined in studio by my team. I've got KC over in the booth, and I've got Rob the Rocket sitting next to me. Rob, the brains of the operation. How are you today, Rob?
I think so. Not always that brainy, but today I feel reasonably okay, which is above average for me, so let's go.
I like, well, before we do, Rob, yes. Any new records in the jukebox? Rob has an old-fashioned Wurlitzer, I believe.
No, it's a Rockola, actually.
Rockola jukebox in his house, in his living room. It's the coolest thing you've ever seen. And any new additions to the jukebox?
I haven't bought any records lately, but I have a box full of ones I can rotate in.
Yeah?
But, I'm sorry, I may have to take out the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald and put something else in, because although it's your favorite karaoke song, it doesn't get picked a lot by other people.
That's all right. And I tell you, even so, you listen to it a few times, it's like, okay, now I want to shoot myself in the face. Yeah. Although if you're going to do that, then you have to take Harry Chapin Carpenter's, or Harry Chapin's fucking Cats in the Cradle. You got to take that out, because that'll fucking want to blow your brains out.
Well, that's just sad. I mean, Edmund Fitzgerald, that's about death. It's one of the great death songs.
Sure. The other is emotional death. I lost my child because I was a horrible father.
That's it.
All right. So here we go. You're firing in your questions. I am live right now on YouTube and on Facebook and on TikTok. We are opening with, a couple of questions here. We've got Radikara. Radikara is asking the question on TikTok. How do you stop overthinking? All right. You stop overthinking not by trying to stop overthinking per se. Overthinking is a symptom. It's a symptom of fundamentally two things. One of two things or two of two things. Pain and fear. Okay? Pain and fear. We overthink about things that happened in the past because we're still trying to, I hate this word, but process them. We're trying to come to terms with them. And so we play through them. It's like when we talk about our problems. You ever had something shitty happen and you go talk to your best friend about it, or your uncle or aunt who's a good listener, or maybe you go to talk to your therapist, and when you talk it out, you sort of feel better afterwards. Well, why? Because we're thinking about it, and by talking up, by getting it out of our system, there's something about that relieves the emotional pain, the emotional anxiety, the emotional feelings that go with it, right? And so what we're doing when we're overthinking is we're having a similar effect. We can't keep it down, and by overthinking it, it's a smaller version of the same thing. There is some measure of relief, but we're also trying to come to some measure of understanding of why did that happen? What happened? And our brain sort of figures that if we can understand it better, then we can make it go away. But the bottom line is, as long as I'm just keeping it up in my brain, overthinking, it's like clothes that are stuck in a dryer that won't turn off. They just tumble and tumble and tumble and tumble. And that fucking favorite sweater of yours in that dryer is shrinking till eventually it's ruined. The difference is when you overthink, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, those things that you're overthinking about, right? So it's caused by pain from the past, but overthinking more often than not is caused by fear in the future. And so we're gaming out all the potential things that could happen, could go wrong, and the potential pain at the end of it. Overthinking, perseverating, is fear-based, right? And even on the pain in the past, we're thinking it out to avoid pain in the future. And so the way to short circuit that overthinking is by going down deep into what are my fears? What are the real fears at the end of the logical or illogical conclusion here. What really is the fear that I'm most afraid of? And down each of these routes, you're looking out each route, route A, route B, route C. If I take this path, then what? If I take this path, then what? If I take this path, and if it goes to its worst conclusion, and your overthinking brain is saying, well, if I go this could happen. If I go down that path, that could happen. It's like, I'm not going to take any path at all. And we think about things very often. Why? So that we don't have to feel things. Because it's so much safer to think than it is to feel. It's so much safer. Because it's easy to understand thinking things. It's much harder to understand feeling things, especially if you're taught, oh, feelings are for pussies, or if you're taught, oh, feelings are weak, or if you're taught that you weren't allowed to even have feelings. Right, so it's easier to stay up in your freaking brain. So what do? What you have to do is you've got to begin to drill down to what the fears are driving this whole equation. And so what you do is you start to write down each of the different paths that you could take, path A, path B, path C. What is the ultimate fear down each of these paths that I fear the very, very most, whether it's logical or illogical? Write it down. And then if that happened, what would I feel? Write that down. And then if I felt that, you would grieve and you would rage and all that, and you'd hopefully be flushing it out if that happened. And then write down this question. And the question is, then what? Question mark. Then what? So that worst thing happens. You fail, or you lose all your money, or the person leaves you. Then what? Would you kill yourself? Would you? And if the answer is no, then you are fundamentally saying life would go on. You're fundamentally saying I'll be okay. Because the way you're living right now, in all likelihood, is you are stuck in your head because you are convinced if I went down route A or route C or route K, that would be horrible and it would be a fate worse than death. But now when we confront ourselves with the question, what would I do? It's like, well, I guess I'd go on living. It would suck and I'd grieve and I'd be angry and stuff, but I guess I'd go on living. Exactly. In other words, in the end, yes, it would suck, but I'll be okay. Exactly. But you're living as if you won't be okay. You're staying stuck in those fears. The way we get those fears out of us is by flushing. And we do flushing by, well, sure, therapy is good, but not everybody can afford it, or you can only afford so much, or you have no therapist in your area, you never found the one that worked. And this way, I'm always telling you guys, you can be doing this shit on your own. I'm a big believer in self-help. That's why I've written the books that I've written, to help you heal your own self, right? To do all this shit on your own. All this shit on your own. The workbook, the book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup, all of it. You can be doing this shit on your own. But in the end, that being in your head, all of that overthinking, all of it is driven by bullshit beliefs you were taught about yourself in childhood. Overthinking is always driven by past pain, past fear, and past bullshit you were taught to believe about yourself. And so you have to drill down to what those are. Identify those, because you can't even fucking see them right now. You have to drill down to that and begin to cut that out. Otherwise, you will continue back into this pattern. Even if you get these fears out regarding these particular choices now, those core beliefs are going to drive future overthinking. You're like, well, how the hell do I do that? I mean, what does that even mean? Drill down to my core beliefs that I can't even see? Okay, what are you talking? Mumbo, jumbo, dungo, bunga? What the fuck? Right. You can't do it on your own. And I know it's going to sound stupid, but that's why I wrote the fucking book, because I had to figure this shit out on my own, because I was in a 12-year suicidal depression. That's why I wrote the book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup. Because I figured out how, and that's what I've built my 30-year counseling practice on. Just listen to the fucking podcast, take these questions and start fucking journaling. Get a pad of fucking paper. It doesn't cost you a fucking penny. But you got to start drilling down to that shit, because that's what's driving the overthinking. Next question. Julianne asked the question on TikTok. How do I help my kids with their dad who is an extreme taker? You have to start teaching them to stand up for themselves. And you begin by modeling that yourself. Because the truth is, in part, likely in the past, and potentially in the present, if you are still married, he is allowed to act like an extreme taker. The question I would want to ask you, Julianne, is to what degree are you allowing him to be an extreme taker? I would ask you, are you still married? I'm not going to get the answer here because of the medium, but are you allowing him to be an extreme taker? Are you an extreme giver? And if so, then you're facilitating that behavior. You're playing into it. So then any message you try to teach them about how not to deal with it is being counteracted by your actions. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just saying it is. And your children are reading your actions. That means your actions need to exhibit strength because you don't deal with an extreme taker by giving in. You don't deal with an extreme taker by reacting and playing soft and playing their ball game. You don't. And your children, first of all, need to have an access point to get out all of their feelings of anger, frustration, rage, sorrow. That's the first thing. Second of all, they need to be taught both explicitly and implicitly through what you are modeling that they have every right and necessity to stand up for themselves. Next question. Assy asked the question, Assy420 asked the question, how do you get the stinking thinking to go away? By not trying to get the stinking thinking to go away. And that is to say, it's just like when you have a sore throat and an upset stomach and maybe some congestion in your face in wintertime. How do you get those symptoms to go away? Well, yes, you can take cough syrup, although don't they say that a lot of those cough syrups are just whatever, or, cold medication is just made up, whatever, but not the point. If you're focusing on getting rid of the symptoms, you're not actually getting rid of the virus or the infection, are you? No, if you want to truly get rid of something long term, you drill down to what the essence of the problem is, not the symptoms. So if you're just trying to get rid of the stinking thinking, you're not getting rid of what's actually causing it. And what's actually causing it, Assy420, is the core beliefs that you were taught about yourself. So you can try to infuse happy thoughts and gratitude lists. And, I'm all for those things, but they're not the solution. Those are coping mechanisms. And if you're still coping, you ain't healed. And sometimes life requires both, but in the end, no. You have to heal yourself so that you no longer need the coping mechanisms. What does that mean? It means drilling down to the core beliefs you were taught about yourself. And likely it's something along the lines of you're not wantable, you're not wanted, you're not loved, you're not lovable, you don't matter, or the real you doesn't matter, or you only matter enough to serve our purposes. Those core beliefs are what are driving the equation. So when you say, how do you get rid of this stinking thinking? Permanently, you drill down to the core messages you were taught about yourself that are driving it. All right, next question. Corey Na asked a similar question over on Facebook. I've read your book and I did the journaling. How do I stop reverting back to negative self-talk? Corey, there's something even deeper. If you're sort of defaulting back to negative self-talk, it's because one of the messages is still in there, at least one of the messages. Because when those core beliefs, when those messages have fully come out, there's no reversion back to negative self-talk. There isn't any. That means you need to go back to those chapters on messaging. That first the chapters on the binary gates, as well as the chapters on messaging. You need to go down there. But I wouldn't even, before you even do that, I would ask you this question. What is it that might be still inside of you that you don't want to touch? What event from your present or past, what trauma, what pain, what conversation, what thought is there that you don't want to talk about? What's off limits? If you and I were having a conversation right now, what is it you wouldn't want to talk about? That's exactly what we would talk about. Whatever it is that's too painful, too hot to the touch, too sensitive, or just, I'd rather not talk about that, Sven. That's exactly what you need to go into. There is still something inside of you, Corey. I guarantee it. Something. And it's so fucking emotionally charged, and it's charged with a message about you and about your worth. And that's what's driving this negative self-talk that you revert to. And until you drill down to that and go into it and its roots and its implications, you're going to keep reverting back to the negative self-talk. And anything for that negative self-talk that you try to do other than going down to the root is not going to work long term. All right, next question. Lance says to me, 11 years and 2 boys, divorced 3 years. I assume married 11 years, 2 boys, divorced 3 years. She is stuck in our past and will not co-parent. What can I do for myself or about myself to improve this situation? Will not co-parent doesn't really tell me what that means. I mean, that must mean that either that means you have the kids all the time and she's not taking any responsibility in terms of co-parenting, like literally doing nothing. Either you mean that, Or you mean she's not co-parenting in sort of a healthy way, like where you're both communicating and so on and so forth. I'm not sure what it is, but in a way it doesn't really matter considering the question you ask, Lance, because you say, what can I do for myself or about myself to improve the situation? So you don't ask, how can I get her to change, or when's she going to step up, or what can I do for myself or about myself? It sounds like you're very fucking frustrated and you're feeling a lot of feelings. But what would be really helpful is, what I would ask you if you and I are in person is, what fundamentally is the feeling you're feeling? And if you were to name what your fucking problem is, what you're struggling with most in one sentence or less, what would it be, Lance? And I am going to sort of leave it open here. I'm going to move on to somebody else's question, but feel free to go ahead and type that in, and I'll try to see if I can pull it up. All right. Missy Smalley asks, why do I have a problem looking into the past? I just go into it the next day. Missy says, why do I have a problem going into the past? The reason people generally have a problem going into the past is because there's something in the past that's fucking terrifying. Now, for people who don't have memories of their past, or they have a memory but they don't have the feeling equated with it, it's fear. It's pain. So if you don't have the memories, it's because your brain has shut that down at some point in your past. Why? Because it would have been too much for that child to handle. But here you are now an adult, and you're saying, why do I have troubles going into my past? Well, that indicates you want to, right? And the reason you have troubles is because you're terrified. So the way to unlock that is repetition. Keep going back in and start with what you do remember. Journal about what you do remember. Write letters that you don't send, to the people who have hurt you in your past, even if your past is just last month. Okay? Start with that. Start flushing what you do know, what you can feel, what you are aware of. Start there. And the more you unpack even those things, more will come up, in part because you're communicating to your soul, hey, I'm ready for a little bit more. And furthermore, you're building your muscle set, so to speak, your emotional muscle set, your mental muscle set of being able to handle it and being able to do the work to flush it out. That's how. All right? So just keep doing a bit more work and a bit more work, and more of it will come out. But the reason is because it's just sheer fear. You've got a lot down there. It'll come up. But it's been kept down for a reason. It's been kept down because it's so fucking scary. All right, next question. Carrie Lane says, same situation for me as Lance, that I failed to fix the communication. Yeah, and if that is in fact the same case or not, there's only so much you can do to fix the communication, because communication is the prefix on the word communication is com or con, right? Which in Latin is both an intensive, con, which is an intensive, means even more so, like a lot. But con also means with. So if you have chili con carne, what does that mean, Rob? Chili con carne.
Chili with meat.
With meat. So carne is meat, chili is chili. What's the con? With. Right. Communication means con with. Unication. Uni. Together. Failed to fix the con uni. The unifying together. You couldn't fix it. It's together. It's two fucking people. You can't fix something if it's two people, if the other person doesn't want to fucking fix it. So you can beat yourself up for it, but you're beating yourself up for something you didn't have full control over. It's a two-person situation. Go ahead, Rob.
All right. I apologize to Roxy, who did ask a question, but there was no question mark, and so I missed it.
That's all right. We miss them.
But I do that a lot. Here's what she asks. When you take space to heal yourself, but it causes ones you want and need to love you, leave your life, is the pain worth it in the end?
Well, my first question is, are we talking about children here? I am not a fan of leaving your children to to heal yourself, because you can do both. Now, so we're going to set aside the child part of the equation. After that, people who need your love, well, shit, if you need to heal yourself, that means you need to heal yourself so that you can feel love and so that your own love cup can fill with love.
Sven, she says, it causes ones you want and need to love you.
Oh.
Is that different? I think so.
So read it again, please.
All right. When you take space to heal yourself, but it causes ones you want and need to love you, leave your life, is the pain worth it in the end?
If you actually do the work to heal, Oh, fuck yeah. Absolutely. And the truth is, if you are telling someone I need to leave to heal myself for now, and they fucking leave you permanently, I mean, what does that really say? If someone, let me ask you this, if someone really, that you really cared about said, I just need to take some time for myself, you know, I want to come back to our friendship and our et cetera, and then they leave you, what does that fucking say? Would you walk away from them if somebody asks, you know, I still want to be your friend or whatever, I just need some time to heal myself. Would you walk away from them?
Dealing with mother and sisters, she says.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Mother and sisters, I mean, it's what I fundamentally hear them saying is, what I hear you saying is, I needed their love and support. Clearly, they weren't giving it to you because why? Because you chose to separate yourself from them to heal yourself. You're separating yourself from them. Let's be really honest here, Roxy. You're separating yourself from them because they're part of the fucking problem. Otherwise, why would you separate yourself from them? If you were getting love and support from them, you wouldn't separate yourself from them. You would stay in their proximity while you're doing the healing. It doesn't make sense. No, they were somehow detrimental to your healing. So now you've pulled away to heal yourself and they're like, fuck you. Well, that sort of tells you, that sort of explains the whole equation right there, doesn't it? They weren't there, that you exist to serve them. And you were wanting them to care about you and to help you heal, and they didn't give a fuck. They said, fuck you. There's your answer. And unfortunately, that's who your family is. So is it worth it? It's absolutely worth it. It's absolutely worth it. Why? Because love of self comes at a price, but you're fundamentally saying, I'm terrified that my love of self won't exceed the love that I'm trying to get from them. But do they even really fucking love you when they turn their back on you when you do something to take care of yourself? No, they're wanting you to feed into their myth. They're wanting you to pour love into their love cup, Roxy. And that's the way you've always been. So it's got to be fucking terrifying, this idea of doing it to heal yourself. But the mere fact that you're even doing it or considering doing it, I didn't put that thought in your head. You raised it. Says that a part of you somewhere inside of you knows you have to do it for you. And it's a big risk, which is why you're asking the question, is it worth it? And I'm saying absolutely it's worth it if you actually do the work to heal. And it's scary and it's hard and it takes courage. But if you actually do the work to heal, life changes for the better. Absolutely.
Yeah,
next question.
Says true, but makes it hurt so much more.
Well, and you got to get that hurt out. It's just like all your hurt. You got to flush all that out. Of course it does. But this is the price because their presence in your life was keeping you in old Roxy. And it's keeping you stuck. And you hate old Roxy, which is why you're considering it in the first place. And it does hurt. And you're purging all the pain. And part of the pain is that they don't want you to be you. They want you to be who they want you to be. All right.
Spend time to take a few minutes to talk about Community Plus, if you would.
Yeah. We have the Facebook. On Facebook, we have a group called Badass Counseling Group, and it's huge. 45,000 members. It's huge. And it's a support group. And for a lot of people, it wasn't enough. They wanted a more intimate experience, so we created Community Plus. Community Plus on badasscounseling.com. And it is a subscription-based community. And it is for those who just want to level up their shit. It's next level shit. There's so many free resources. We've got do-it-yourself video courses. We have drawings every month for small group counseling with me. We've got drawings every month for one-on-one counseling with me. We've got a community feed, just like on Facebook. And we've got priority pass access to be considered to be on the podcast for counseling. We've got priority pass access to go to the front of the waiting list for counseling with me if you're wanting one-on-one counseling. All sorts of opportunities. Go check out Community Plus at badasscounseling.com.
This show provides soul counseling intended to entertain and inform and is not medical advice. Now, back to the badass.
And we are back. This is Badass Counseling show called, well, the Badass Counseling Show. And we are doing a lightning round, taking your questions. M asked the question on TikTok. One of the hardest things for me to learn is how my mother is not, in all capital letters, emotionally supportive. Yes, it is. One of the hardest things in life is to face that those people that you thought loved you, in fact, haven't shown it in their actions. Sure, maybe they put food over your, food on the table, roof over your head, and clothes on your back. But guess what? They would have put food on the table and a roof over your head, over their own heads, whether you were there or not. So it's not like they did that for you, per se. Furthermore, if you had run away and gone to the homeless shelter, you'd have gotten the roof, the food, and the clothes, as well as big hugs from people in the line feeding you. So love's an action, right? So if your mother was not emotionally supportive, one of the ways we protect our children isn't just from the wolves outside the gate, or it isn't just from the boys in 7th grade who want to get in your pants, or nowadays the girls, it seems. But no, it's protecting our children emotionally. And it's a heck of a realization when you're in your 30s or your 50s or your 70s to realize your parents weren't and perhaps still aren't emotionally supportive, that they weren't and aren't there for you. Yes, that is extraordinarily difficult. Next question. All right. Lena is saying over here, Roxy up on YouTube. Lena is saying, I relate to Roxy 100%. All right. Risen asks the question, this world is spiritual warfare. How do I stop them from taking my energy when I feel drained, when I level up? You stop simply by reading your energy, trusting it, and acting on it. What does that mean? Simple. Your body's energy is constantly talking to you. Do you listen and do you act on it? So those things, don't think in terms of happiness in life. I mean, you can, but happiness is basically up here in your head. Think in terms of your energy. What are those things in life that breathe life into you, that give you energy, that bring you either feelings of relief and calm or exuberance? If those are the two metrics, and I absolutely believe they are, over 30 plus years of counseling people, plus in my own life, if you were to strictly engage in actions that breathe life into you, that make you feel relief and or calm, as well as and or exuberance, do those, that's the authentic you. Anything that bleeds you, bores you, numbs you, sucks the life out of you, anything you have to conjure up the energy to do is not you. So when this person says, how do I stop them, presumably other people in life, from taking my energy when I feel drained, when I level up? You stop by cutting those people out of your life or radically reducing them in your life. And not just the people, but the places, the geographies, the events, the jobs, the conversations, the actions, the habits, the hobbies. Anything that bleeds your energy is not you. And you bring up you say this world is spiritual warfare. Well, you know, I'm a former clergyman. All of my books are somehow related to spirituality or soul. Your soul, your spirit is speaking through your energy. You're just your bodily energy. That when we even use words like inspired. What's the Latin breakdown of inspired? Spirit in. If I'm feeling inspired, I'm all jacked up, Mountain Dew. Woo! Daddy, come on now. Right. Inspired. I have spirit in me. Even if you don't believe in God, it's just, I'm spirited. That kid is spirited. Right? If someone is enthusiastic, what's the root of that? What's the Greek root of that? En means in. Enthusiastic. What's the root? Theos. He has the gods inside of him. Theos. Right? All these words, energy, the words we have for energized are God words. That means way back when they're fucking piecing these words together, they equate energy with gods, with the God, with energy, with universe, with soul. You want to know who the fuck you really are? Follow your energy. The things that bring you calm and relief, or the things that bring you enthusiasm. All right, next question. Oh, and that also means deleting those things from your life or radically reducing those things in your life that suck the fucking life out of you. And that's where it really takes balls or ovaries. It really takes that, because that's where the price of authenticity is having the courage to say no to that which is not you. And you guys have heard me say it a million times before, that great word in the Hindi language, neti, N-E-T-I or N-E-T-T-I. Neti simply means not this. There are times in life where we don't know what the path is. All we can say is, well, neti, and oh, neti to that as well. Oh, and neti to that as well. Right. Not this. Oh, not this. Oh, not that either. Right. What are the things in your life presently that are neti? What are the things outside of you? Who are the people that are neti? What are the beliefs inside of you that do not serve you, that are neti? Not this, that you are still engaged in. You got to heal your own inner shit before you can heal all that outer shit completely. Why? You'll just keep boomeranging back to the inner shit. Neti, not this. All right, we're going to take just a couple more questions here. Lots of good ones you guys are firing in today. This is awesome.
I'm here if you want.
All right, go ahead, Rob.
All right, Britt on YouTube asks, I've been seeing a guy for a few months and I'm now starting to get real feelings for him. I find myself being filled with fear he's going to leave now instead of being relaxed like I've been. Why is this?
Oh, because Britt is saying basically, I'm getting fear. I'm getting more invested. We're moving further in and it's getting scarier. Because, Britt, you've been hurt in the past, haven't you? Because the more we invest in ourselves into anything, the scarier it is, right? Okay, so let's just say I choose to invest more money into random stock. Give me a random stock, Rob.
Apple.
I invest even more, and I invest even more into Apple, and it gets a little scarier, especially if there's a dip in their stock for a week or 2 weeks. But I invest why would it get scarier? Why? Because a bigger piece of me is in there, which means if it goes tits up or if things go south, let's just throw in all the metaphors, then what's going to happen? I lose a bigger piece of me. So that means you're getting more invested, and potentially, likely, in the past, you've invested more of you and you've gotten hurt. And so your fear is impacting this relationship, even though you've never had a relationship with this guy before. So now, in a way, he's being punished for past guys in your life. Doesn't seem fair, does it? And potentially, you're being punished for past women in his life. Doesn't seem fair, does it? You wouldn't want that, I'm sure. But what you have to be doing is you need to be journaling out and writing letters to those that you don't send, to people in your past who have hurt you or caused you to feel that pain and fear now. But yeah, you're pulling back. Stakes are getting higher. And so what you'd be wise to be journaling about is, what is it I'm most afraid of happening here? What's the grand fear that's operating inside of me? And you had the calm before, but our residual fears and anxieties and beliefs about ourselves always come out when we're forced to actually go back into the game and play the game. And I don't mean, oh, we're playing games. I just mean that metaphorically. We're back in the game. Here we go. Okay. And so what would happen? You've got to go to where I started this show when we were talking about overthinking. What is the grand fear that you most fear happening? I'm betting it's that I would get invested and he would leave me, right? Probably. So then what you also need to be journaling on is, if I opened up and shared my heart and soul with him and he left me, then what? Would you blow your brains out, swallow a bottle of pills? Likely not, right? So journal all this shit out. So then you're fundamentally admitting life would go on. I'll be okay. Journal all that out. Right? Okay. So this thing that feels terrifying, opening up and getting left, I'll be okay. I'll sort through it. I'll grieve. It'll be sad. It'll be hard, sure. But life won't end. All right. So the more we look at worst case scenarios, the more, and flush it out, the more we begin to realize, okay, this isn't as a big, bad, a scary wolf as it may feel like when I'm just perseverating or overthinking it all in my head. But you got to be journaling that shit the fuck out, right? And yeah, especially the fears. And what fear really are we talking about, and drilling down to what really is the fear underneath that? Where is this one coming from? Next question. Caritas Art Studio, good to see you, says, went to therapy for severe trauma, was told basically get over it. I'm shocked and traumatized more now. Of course you are. The shit that people experience in counseling and therapy is just like, wow. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Yeah, and I think you know what I'm going to say on that is, unfortunately, start the simple way, even on your own, that you can begin to deal with trauma as severe trauma. We just taped a show today that will probably air in May. And it was about a woman who was sexually abused by her own father. And she tells the story, and she's sobbing through the whole thing of being sexually abused at 3 and at 7, and then in another way at 22 by her father. And it was very hard for her. And I told her she could stop at any point, et cetera, et cetera. But it's telling the story and allowing the feelings to come out, and telling the story and allowing the feelings to come out, and what you're feeling now and what you think of that person now, et cetera, and doing it again and again and again and again. Start there. Flushing. Why? Because you're getting it out. You're getting it out. bit by bit. Even if you can do it, write one little paragraph a week. Start there. Little bits, inch by inch. Okay, next question.
All right, Andrea on YouTube says, my mom is a bitch, but why do I feel sorry for her, especially when she's quiet or vulnerable? How do I get rid of it?
Andrea, you've been conditioned at some point in your life, likely way back when you were a kid, to be tuned into mom's feelings. Now, the truth is, every child, as a child, is tuned into the parent's feelings. Why? A child cares about the parent's feelings even more than their own feelings. Why? Because parents' feelings will get in the way of parents doing what the child most wants, which is to pour love into the child's love cup. So if mom is shook up, sad, or dad's really angry, or, mom is just totally distant, or dad is frustrated a lot, whatever it might be, the child is going to become the family joker, or the child is going to be the comforter, or the child is going to be the family servant, or the child is going to be whatever the hell the child is going to do to try to assuage, lessen, mitigate, reduce that parent's bad, quote unquote, feelings. Why? Because if I can just make mom feel better, then she'll meet my needs. So, Andrea, when you say you have strong feelings towards mom, basically, but you always feel bad because you feel bad when mom goes silent or feels bad for herself. Why? Because you've been conditioned to worry about mom's feelings more than your own. In part because the natural impulse to make mom feel better so that as a kid, she'd just finally do her fucking job. But mom's feelings always got in the way. So it's partly just the natural instinct of I want to get my needs met, so I got to solve the mom problem, and then she'll solve my problem.
Oh, Sven, I got to give you this Andrea quote now.
Go.
We've been told that when we're not good, she doesn't love us.
And that was going to be the second piece. The first piece is the child's natural inclination to want to fix the parents so that I can get my needs met. The second inclination is you got messages directly or indirectly, explicitly or implicitly, that if you are not putting mom ahead of yourself, meeting mom's needs first, you're bad and you won't get love. So if you've been told that if you're not basically doing mom's bidding, you won't get love, that's the fucking automatic shut-off switch for you doing anything to serve yourself. Because if you're going to be hyper tuned into anything mom's feeling because you want that Scooby snack of some love from mom. You want, even if it's just a teaspoonful or a capful of love from mom, you're going to be so hyper tuned in, fixated on mom's fucking feelings. She's got you fucking trained and you've been that way since you were a child. Can you believe she fucking did that shit to a child? You're not going to get love from me unless what?
When we're not good, she doesn't love us. And you know what? It makes me teary.
I think it fucking pulls at all of our hearts. Every single person listening or watching right now. When you're not what? It makes me not love you? What? When you're not what?
When we're not good.
For the love of God, what is that? When you're not good, I don't love you? Yeah, and so the truth is, let me ask you this, Andrea. Do you believe that you are unlovable innately, intrinsically? Do you believe you are unlovable and that you are only lovable when mom is giving you love? Do you believe that? Now, I'm willing to bet that somewhere deep inside of you, even if it's only 5%, you don't believe that. I'm willing to bet that somewhere inside of you, you believe intrinsically in your own value, in your own lovability, in your own worth. See, every other single person listening to this show thinks your mom is full of fucking shit. Every other person listening to this show knows that little girl that you were was good, intrinsically lovable. You want to know how we all know? Because it is literally impossible for a child to be unlovable. But your mom taught you, no, you're only lovable when you're doing what I want, which is bullshit. There is literally not a child on earth today, tomorrow, or ever in the past who was intrinsically unlovable. It's literally impossible. Therefore, your mother taught you a lie. It is not your native state to be lovable, is what she taught you. And it was bullshit. You have to earn lovability. So you've been running and chasing and pouring love, and you've become an extreme giver your entire life, haven't you? And no one more than mom. And probably what, a husband, a spouse, wife, whatever you are. Right. You've been chasing it your whole fucking life. And that's why you won't get your feelings out. It's not even a can't, it's a won't. I don't want to, because what's at risk is if I allow out my own feelings, mom's hurting right now, so I can't let my feelings out. But also if I allow out my own feelings, even if I never confront mom, there's the potential that I may never get mom's love. And you think you need mom's love to set you free. You think you need mom's love to confirm your worth. Mom was the one that taught you you are innately unlovable. Therefore, you need mom to be the one to teach you that you are innately lovable. And she ain't never going to fucking do it. No, the way you learn that you are innately lovable is by going down deep inside and pulling out all those core beliefs that were bullshit to begin with. And again, I'm sorry that if you guys don't like that I keep going back to it, but this is what I wrote the fucking book for, to take you through this process. There's a hole in my love cup to walk you through the process of drilling down to those core beliefs you were taught about yourself and jackhammering them and cutting them out of your life so that you're not still driven by this shit. And that will also enable you in the process to unleash your real feelings regarding your mother. Because the truth is, I fucking hate her for telling that to a child. It's fucking disgusting. Who the fuck tells that to a child? There's no fucking excuse. There's not one excuse on God's green earth to justify teaching that to a child. I only love you if you're good. Fuck the fuck off. And the fact that she's still acting that way and hasn't apologized, the fact that she hasn't apologized for raising her children that way only confirms how shitty she was then, because she's still justifying it now. It's like, what the fuck? She's doing you a favor by not apologizing for it. Why? Because she's proving that what you felt as a child was in fact true, that she actually was a shit mother. Is there any more fundamental message than you're not lovable the way you are? Is there anything a parent could do that could be worse than that? You've just destroyed the very foundation of that child. Unbelievable. All right, one more question.
Hey, Sven.
Yeah.
Let us all resolve to have partners who love us for who we are, not for what we do. I'm talking to myself here, by the way.
Well, and that's true. And the truth is, if you've been taught that you're not lovable for who you are, you're going to choose partners who in the beginning make you feel good, but you're going to allow them, even if they're not intrinsically bad people, you're going to allow them to treat you a little bit by a little bit poorer and poorer and poorer, till eventually a small thing has become big things, and it's just fucking unbearable. Why? Because I'm tolerating this. This small stuff gets medium stuff, gets big stuff. So yeah. And it really starts when it's small. It's having the courage to say no when it's small, people. And that's when you're going to be least inclined to say no, because it's no big deal. And, she's got such a great ass, or, he's so intelligent, I just love him so much. No, you can't. Or I may not get anyone better, or I'm getting so, I'm 58 now, I may never find someone better, or gee, I'm 60 pounds overweight, no one's ever going to love me. And so you let shit go. And that's when that little fucking cancer metastasizes. All right, one more question. Smith Chris says, if you pay attention, the voice that constantly criticizes you isn't your voice. It's the voice of the ones that told us parts of us weren't wanted, loved, or liked. Tell the voice to shut the fuck up. Well, amen to that. But you also got to go down in there, Smith Chris. Find the origins, name the origins, flush out all the feelings, as well as the other beliefs that surround it. All right. Here we go. Great question. We're going to end on this one, folks. This is from Stephanie on TikTok. How do I make up for the unhealed version of me that my kids had to see? You don't indicate the age of your kids, and in a way, it's not really necessary. First of all, I'd recommend just waiting a bit before you engage the process of going to them. First thing, you've got the unhealed version of you that your kids had to see. And it's not just they had to see it. You were making decisions that were laced and laden and outright driven by the unhealed version of you. It's not just that they saw you acting a certain way. All of your decision making was infused or outright driven by all of the messages from your past that were embedded in the concrete of your soul. Whether you want to believe that or not, fact. Okay. So first thing I want you to do is I want you to go back to Christmas of 2023. And you're writing into me on TikTok, and that's going to be the easiest platform to find this video. TikTok and Instagram are the easiest because they just have thumbnails and you can just scroll right the fuck through them. It's not like Facebook, which is a pain in the ass for that. Same with YouTube. Yeah, scroll back and find the video from Christmas of 2023. I believe it was Christmas Eve. Anyway, I'm in a bomber jacket. I'm sitting outside in the snow. Yes, I'm not real bright. And it's titled something like 7 Things You Can Do to Help Your Adult Child Heal. Okay. It applies also to young adult child, a bit teens, but I want you to watch that. But don't go to the child yet. You're not ready. Okay. Because the truth is there's still probably some unhealed stuff inside of you that we can go a little deeper on. All right. The other thing that you need to do is, if you haven't read the book yet, you need to read the book and you need to do the journaling exercises in There's a Hole in My Love Cup, because that's going to take you down to any unhealed stuff you still can't see or haven't gotten out of you yet. How do I make up for the unhealed version of me? Start, at the very least, one of the things I talk about in that video is start by making a list, every last thing you think you have done to hurt, undermine, question, doubt your children. Each one of them by name, make out a giant list. Start there. And I guarantee the things that you have done are probably triple that. And the problem is, the younger your children are, like if they are over 18 but under 30-ish, 35, roughly, these are ballpark figures. If they are between roughly 18 and 35, they're not going to tell you all the shit that you've done to hurt them, or they're not going to convey the level of depth of the pain that you have inflicted on them. Why? 20-year-olds tend to say, it's okay, Mom, I understand. Don't worry about it, Dad. It's no big deal. It's all good. It's done. Because they don't understand it yet. They stuff, at those ages, they tend to stuff down pain. It's not until it really catches up with them. It's not till life has gone on a bit, worn on a bit. Maybe they've had kids of their own, that they began to see it and feel more comfortable talking about it. But yet when they're that age, they just want to let Mom off the hook. They feel bad for you. They want to let Dad off the hook. They feel bad for you. Oh, it's no big deal. It's no big deal, when it is a big deal and they can't see it. Right.
Should a 20-year-old go through the book?
Oh, yes. One of my all-time favorite clients is this kid, 21 years old. Listen to this fucking story. Have you heard me tell this one, Rob?
I don't recall.
I had a 21-year-old kid reach out to me about 2-3 years ago. And he had saved up his own money working as a waiter at Bob Evans, I think it was, right? Fucking Bob Evans or Denny's, as a waiter. He saved up. Now, he bought the full 6 hours initial counseling session. That's $3,000. He had saved up $3,000 of his own money, waiting tables, Bob Evans, counts with me. And we counseled together. And that motherfucker had already read the book. He had already done all the journaling exercises in the book. And he'd done the work, and he was ready, and I took him even deeper. I think I probably threw on some extra time at the end just because I was so impressed with this kid. About 9 months later, he comes back to me. He says, Sven, I saved up another, whatever it was, to have 4 more hours, $2,000 to have 4 more hours. You talk about a highly motivated motherfucking kid. I was telling that story to a 62-year-old CEO on Wall Street. Didn't share any names or anything of the kid, nothing like that. I said, I had this 21-year-old kid because this 62-year-old CEO on Wall Street said to me, Sven, God damn, I wish I would have done this work back when I was 30. I could have saved myself 30 years of this shit bogging me down from inside. And by the way, folks, every single one of my clients says that at one point or another. I wish I had done this work when I was younger. And I told him about this young kid. And he's like, that kid's my fucking hero. I said, exactly. I told it to another client who is, many of you will have heard of him. He's extremely well known in his career field. Very successful man, roughly, middle age. And this man said, that kid's my fucking hero, Sven. I want to buy that kid a couple of free hours with you, Sven. That exact day, that moment, he Venmo'd me the money. And I said, is it all right if I tell him who you are, or would you prefer to be anonymous? He said, all right, no, you can tell him. And so after that session, I reached out to the kid and I told him what happened. And the kid was fucking in tears. And he had the session and he wrote a very generous thank you note, to the man. Kid saving up his money, working at fucking Bob Evans as a waiter at 20, 21, 22. You believe that shit? So should somebody at that age do it? Fuck yeah, man. Fuck yeah, man. That kid is my fucking hero. Age doesn't really fucking matter. I got a fucking 13-year-old girl up in fucking Canada reading Badass Wisdom, telling me, Sven, I love this book. You just inspire me every single day, and you force me to think deeply on shit. Badass Wisdom is that 365 today inspirational, meditational fucking book that takes you deep on a million different topics, right? So, yeah, age. I've got clients in their 80s who say, fuck it, I've had this fucking shitty life. I'm tired of these beliefs I've lived under. I want to heal now so that the last 5 or 10 years of my life can be fucking happy. I don't give a shit. I want to do it now. All ages, all comers. All right, folks, this has been fun. It's been a good ride. Thank you for the fun. Thank you for the joy, the lift, the questions. Rob, what say ye?
This was the etymology episode. A lot of word origins and how they have changed through history, and I always learn something. So thanks, bud.
Yeah, it was fun. Nice to know all that money into those 5 languages. I didn't get into the Hebrew today, though. You probably know more Hebrew than I do.
We'll work on it.
Right on. I think I've forgotten a lot of my Hebrew. But anyway, this has been great. Thank you, folks, for your great questions today on YouTube, on TikTok, and on Facebook. And to everyone out there listening, whether you are in Alaska or Guyana, on behalf of my team, KC in the booth and Rob the Rocket, have a kick-ass day.
The Badass Counseling Show is strictly copyrighted. No copies may be made without the express written consent of the Badass Counseling Show, LLC. The Badass Counseling Show is produced by Karen Camparelli and Robert H. Friedman. Executive producer Sven Erlandson. Original music by 2-time Emmy Award-winning composer Trevor Morris. Have a kick-ass day.